My friend Creative Rob, who you might remember from our previous collaboration, the Charles Bukowski Edge Lit Acrylic Light, hit me up a couple weeks ago asking, can your long mill make stamps? I don't know, I told him, but let's give it a go. So he sent over the artwork. I threw it in Illustrator, traced it out, threw that into the CAM software, testing a bunch of different bits, speeds, feeds, and DOCs and all that good stuff. And some of it worked, and some of it didn't work. But none of it would have worked if it wasn't for our sponsor, CNC Labs, maker of the Long Mill, coders of G-Sender, and dream enablers of creatives across the globe. The Long Mill has let me and thousands of others take ideas and turn them into reality. So if you are looking to dip your toe into the CNC world, go check out the Long Mill in the links below. All right, let's get into this video. So, why did my buddy Creative Rob need a bunch of the same stamp cutout? Well, he had originally hand carved the stamp blanks and was making a shirt out of them, as you can see here. So he had one stamp and then was having to keep it straight across a row and then making sure that they were evenly spaced, and it was time consuming. So that's why he reached out to me to see if there was a way we can make something, some kind of jig and a bunch of stamps so he could speed up this process. Well, we solved that. What used to take him 2 hours or more is now taking him 45 minutes or less with this giant row of stamps, and it's working. It saved him time. But before we could get there, there was a lot of trial and error. So let's look at the bits that were used and the results we got. All right, let's talk about bits. Now, I tried 30-degree V bit, a double spiral upcut bit, a double straight flute bit, and a triple flute upcut bit. Ooh. Now, all the bits, except for the V bits, were 1.05 or smaller millimeter or smaller in diameter. Because of the design, I didn't have a lot of room. We were doing 4x3 blanks, and then that design scaled down. There was a lot of intricacies in there, so I had to use small bits. But the result wasn't just dependent upon the bit I used, it was also highly influenced by the depth of cut and the feeds and the speeds. So let's jump in to those. To start off, we're going to talk about the router speed. Put it on 1, plain and simple. Go any faster, you're going to be burning rubber. In regards to feeds and speeds, I had a lot of intricate designs and a lot of closeness between parts in the design. So I kept mine between 1,100 and 1,300 millimeters per minute on the cutting of this one. But in larger areas, I would speed it up, and I had no issue cutting around 1,500 millimeters a minute. So you can speed it up, but if the more intricate your design is, you may want to slow it down if you have a lot of small little parts. I recommend your parts be at least 3 millimeter by 3 millimeter and 2 to 3 millimeter spacing between elements. I was really cutting it close in between some of the elements with 1.1 millimeter gapping, and even with my good settings, some parts would tear out. It was never in the same spot. It would always be different areas and little bit here or there, but it did happen. So part of your process in planning this is going to be getting the right spacing between your elements of your design and the diameter of your bit. With all that said, let's move on to what I found to be the biggest factor in cutting these stamps. We've talked about bits, we've talked about feeds and speeds. Now it's time to talk about depth of cut. And this is the area I think that really affects your final output. So When I was first trying this out, I was going 1 millimeter, 1.5, 2 millimeter total depth of cut in one pass. And I was getting some gnarly edges. But I did notice the less I was taking out in a depth of cut, the better. So I tried 0.6 millimeters per pass for the first one, and then another 0.6 for the second pass. And I got real clean edges. Came out real great. Was there some tear out? A little bit here and there. But what I found, it was take off a little bit. We can still run a high feed, 1200, maybe not 1300, still getting a little fast if you're doing intricate work. But yes, you have to do 2 passes, but look how clean it is. I spent 5 minutes cleaning up this one. Compared to the other ones, I spent 10 minutes. And look at them. They still need to be cleaned. So, the key, I think, with rubber stamps is doing a couple shallow passes. Just get to 1.2, 1.5 total depth of cut, split it into 2 passes. So 0.6 or 0.75 millimeters per pass, and you're going to get a nice clean look like this one. That's really where I think the key is doing those couple shallow passes. And I've done it both with the 2 flute and the 3 flute, and they both came out fine. So it really wasn't the bit as much as getting those shallow passes and taking off a little at a time and leaving those clean edges. Now, that was for, when I said bits on those, that was for the 2 flute spiral and the 3 flute spiral. They both seemed to give pretty good results. Straight edge? Nope. And then there were the V-bits. Did not care for the V-bits. Lots of cleanup. That's going to be my biggest gripe on them. Also, it leaves your design a little bit smaller than you intended because of the nature of it. It did have a little bit of tear out, and it actually didn't get into some of the smaller spaces as well as some of the others. So I know if you go onto YouTube, you're going to see a lot of people using V-bits on stamps. I really did not have a great time with the V-bits on that. But mainly it was because of the cleanup. There was just so much cleanup compared to the 2 flute bit with 2 passes. It was a no-brainer. That was a better way to go than trying to keep working to get a V-bit to cut right. My personal recommendation is that use a 2-3 flute spiral bit, do a couple shallow passes, and you're going to get a nice cleaned in product. Again, yes, there's going to be some cleanup. Just take some tweezers, clean out the holes. Just make sure you don't take out part of the artwork, you know. Don't do that. Well, that about wraps it up for this video, everyone. Thank you, Creative Rob, for throwing this project this way. And if you want to go check him out, I got all the links to his social media pages down below. But I do want to tell you all, he designed this jersey for pro disc golfer Scott Stokely. So proud of you, bro. This is awesome. Congratulations on working with him and getting this out there. And for all of y'all, if you're disc golfer fans, go check it out. Go get a jersey. And yes, this is the shirt he made with the stamps. Loving it. Awesome. Thank you for sending this my way, Rob. Can't wait to collab with you again. And to you, who are all still watching right now, thank you for watching. Remember, if you weren't subscribed, hit that subscribe and bell button down below to keep up with all the latest DE Hammer videos. And last but not least, our sponsor who make all this possible. And not just by sponsoring this film, but by making the product they do, the Long Mill. I've been able to create so many great projects with this, and it's made it easy. Yes, there are hard times, but that's part of the learning process, isn't it? You're going to stumble, you fall, you get back up, and you learn from it. That's what I love about the Long Mill. Believe me, all these tests. And it took a long time until we got to the one that worked to get this stamp right. So, thank you again, everyone. And until next time, keep making stuff.